Hey ladies and gentlemen, Wolf Crier here, and welcome to my guide to the Inna's Exploding Palm build. The Inna's EP build was King of the Prom in Season 5, and was only challenged by Inna's Generator, which will also be a very viable build come Season 9. This build, although complex at first, becomes very easy to master after playing it for a little bit, and I will explain all of that during the skill portion of this video. Ladies and gentlemen, let's dive right into the gear for this build. You are going to definitely need the Inna's Mantra set. The set bonuses for the Inna's Mantra set are as follows. The 2-piece set bonus: increase the passive effect of your Mystic ally and the base passive effect of your mantras by 100%. The 4-piece set bonus allows you to gain the base effect of all 4 mantras at all times. And the 6-piece, you gain the 5 runed Mystic allies at all times, and your damage is increased by 100% for each Mystic ally you have out. And that is increased in Season 9 because it used to be 50%, ladies and gentlemen. So it's automatically 500% increased damage right off the bat from just equipping this set. So for your Inna's Radiance, your headpiece, you are looking for Dex, Vitality, and critical hit chance. If you are not having any problems staying alive, you can swap out Vitality for exploding palm damage. You are going to be wanting a secondary resistance on all of your gear that you could possibly get it on, and that will go well with your Harmony passive when we get to the passives. For your belt, you are looking for Dexterity, Vitality, and Resistance. For your two-handed weapon, you are looking for very high damage, area damage, and cooldown if possible, as well as very high Mystic ally damage. For your legs, your Inna's Temperance, you are looking for Dex, Vitality, and either regeneration or armor. For your hands, your Inna's Hold, you are looking for critical hit chance, critical hit damage, cooldown, and area damage. For your torso, Inna's Vast Expanse, you are looking for Dexterity, Vitality, plus to percent life, or Mystic ally damage. Another option here is reduction of damage from elites. Now for your boots. The Crudest boots. Mystic ally summons 2 Mystic allies that fight by your side. This is going to allow you to have 10 Mystic allies out at one time, which is going to multiply your damage by 1,000% instead of the 500 that the suit gives you. The stats that you are looking for on these boots are Dexterity, Vitality, and exploding palm damage. For your bracers, you are going to be using Gungdo gears. Exploding Palms on Death Explosion applies Exploding Palms. This is going to spread your EPs and allow you to get those massive explosions. For the stats on this piece, you are looking for Dexterity, critical hit chance, and cold damage percent. For your shoulders, you are looking for Lefebvre's Soliloquy. This allows Cyclone Strike to reduce your damage taken by up to 50% for 5 seconds every time you Cyclone Strike. The stats you are looking for on this piece are Dexterity, area damage, cooldown, and resistance. One of your rings will be a Unity. All damage taken is split between the wearers of this item. When combined with a Unity on your follower and your follower's relic being one that allows him not to die, this is going to reduce your damage taken by 50%. The stats on this ring you are looking for is critical hit chance, critical hit damage, or plus to damage or area damage. This can be swapped out for your COE if it is better. Your other ring and your necklace is going to be the Endless Walk set, the Compass Rose, and the Traveler's Pledge. For the set bonus, while moving, damage taken is reduced by up to 50%, and while standing still, damage dealt is increased by up to 100%. You are going to be standing still while applying your assimilation stacks, and then you will apply your EPs and watch the explosions once you pop your Mystic ally. For your ring, the Compass Rose, you are looking for critical hit chance, critical hit damage, plus damage, and area damage. For your neck, your Traveler's Pledge, you are looking for critical hit chance, critical hit damage, and cold damage. Now for your cube, you are going to be using the Fist of Az. Exploding Palms on death explosion damage is increased by 300%. This is going to allow you to do massive damage when your EPs pop. For your armor slot, you are going to be utilizing the Bindings of the Lesser Gods. Enemies hit by your Cyclone Strike take 200% increased damage from your Mystic allies for 5 seconds. And you will be utilizing a Convention of Elements. Gain 200% increased damage to a single element for 4 seconds. This effect rotates through all of the available elements that your character utilizes. Now with this ring, the way it's going to work for this build is on physical rotation. You are going to bounce in, apply your simulation stacks, and then pick the squishiest targets you could possibly find and start applying EPs to them. Once you switch to cold, you are going to pop your Mystic ally, and that is going to cause massive amounts of damage to everything on the map pretty much. Now for the gems, you are going to be using Bane of the Stricken. Each attack you make against an enemy increases the damage it takes from your attacks by a certain percentage, and you gain 25% increased damage against bosses and Rift Guardians. Then you will be using Esoteric Alteration in a percentage of non-physical damage reduction, and while below 50%, your resistances to cold, fire, lightning, poison, and arcane are increased by 75%. For your third gem, you are going to be using Bane of the Trapped. Increase the damage against enemies under the effects of control impairing effects by a certain percentage, and you gain an aura that reduces the movement speed of enemies, which is a control impairing effect. Now onto the skills. Your first skill is Way of the 100 Fists Assimilation. This is going to allow you to gain 5% damage for each mob hit by your third strike of this generator. You are going to start applying this on physical, like I said before, so that you can then apply your Exploding Palms on the squishy targets, and then as soon as you switch over to cold on your Convention of Elements proc, you are going to pop your Mystic ally. For Mystic ally, it does not matter which one you run because you get all 5 times 2. So you get every Mystic ally rune there is. Next skill is Cyclone Strike. Implosion. You are going to be using this a lot for the damage reduction and the damage increase to your Mystic ally, as well as pulling all the mobs into a tight little bundle so that you can pop them all with your EPs. Next up, we have Dashing Strike, Blinding Speed. This is going to allow you to get in and out of places when you need to, and give you a 35% additional dodge chance. And then we have Exploding Palm, Impending Doom. This is the most damage you can get with Exploding Palm, and this is what's going to cause all those massive explosions. And last but not least, Epiphany, Desert Shroud. This is going to reduce your damage taken by 50%, and this is going to allow you to reach those squishy mobs to apply your EPs to. Now for your passives, you are going to be using Beacon of Yeetar, reduce all cooldowns by 20%. And Unity, each ally affected by your mantras increases your damage by 5% up to a maximum of 20%, and has 5% increased damage. You always have a 20% damage bonus because you have 10 Mystic allies out, and they all receive the effects of your mantras. Next up is Harmony. 40% of your single elemental resistances from items instead increase your resistance to all elements. This is why you want a secondary res on all the gear you could possibly get it on. And last but not least is Near-Death Experience. When receiving fatal damage, you instead restore 35% life and spirit and are immune to damage and control impairing effects for 2 seconds. This cannot proc more than once per minute. So there you have the build, ladies and gentlemen. A couple of final tips for this build I would like to point out is find squishy mobs to apply your EPs to. Watch your Convention of Elements rotations. Then you also want to make sure you are not resetting your assimilation stacks when they are very high and before they fall off. You can reset assimilation stacks to a lower number, which will decrease the amount of damage you do. And the last tip, your Mystic Ally active will activate wherever your allies are. Sometimes they can be stuck in another room if you're in a tight corridor or hallway, and you want to make sure they are actually where you want them to pop. That's very important, and one of the things that a lot of people never go over in guides, watch where your Mystic Allies are. Try to reposition them by going out of their range so that they automatically respawn on top of you. That will make sure that they are where you want them to be. So, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, my Inna's Exploding Palm build guide. Ladies and gentlemen, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, comment below on what you think of this build and how high you think Inna's EP can go in Season 9. Thank you guys very much for checking out this video. Peace.